Hey guys, this is Mr. Grice for Algebra 2, Section 1.2 Notes, Part 1. Today we're talking about exponents. Our learning target today is to simplify and evaluate exponential expressions. Now, we do not have notes for you guys, but I do have the slides printed out on the website if you guys want to do it that way. Otherwise, just take out a sheet of paper. All right. First thing that we're going to be talking about is some vocabulary. So go ahead and write this down, 2x to the fifth. Now there are three parts that we're going to be talking about. There's the base, the exponent, and the coefficient. Okay, and they're all nicely color coordinated for you. Now the base is a number or variable that represents an exponent, or that has an exponent. Okay, in this case it's the x. That x is the one that has the exponent. All right, and the exponent represents how many times a base is multiplied with itself. Okay, so how many times is that base multiplied with itself? And then the coefficient is the number multiplied in front of the variable. Okay, so there's the base, which is the number or variable that has an exponent. The exponent represents how many times a base is multiplied with itself. And then the coefficient is a number multiplied in front of a variable. So if I were to write this out the long way, we would write this out as 2 times, and the exponent tells us that we have 5 x's. Okay, so 2x to the fifth. The exponent is showing us repeated multiplication. Okay? Now, the expression above is not equal to parentheses 2x to the fifth. And do you know why not? Well, the base here would be the 2x. So this is saying 2x times 2x times 2x times 2x times 2x. Now, if you can compare that from the top to the bottom, you can see that there's a huge difference. Okay? We can even go and say, let's see if we can plug something in. If we have 2x to the fifth versus 2x to the fifth, and let's say that x equals 2. So order of operations, we have to do parentheses first. So I'm going to look at over here. So there's nothing to do inside parentheses, so we have to do 2 to the fifth, which is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Well, 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 8 times 2 is 16, 16 times 2 is 32. Okay, so 2 times 32, and then we get 64. All right. Well, on the right side over here, we have to do inside the parentheses first. So we get 4, and now that is saying 4 to the fifth, which would be 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. I'm just going to pair these off. 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 4 is 16. And then 4. 16 times 16, 64. Okay, this is a good chapter to have your multiplication chart. 64 times 4, well, 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 6 is 24 plus 1. So we would get 256. All right, so there is a big difference between those two values. Okay. All right, well, we've gone through all this. All right, so in expanded form, we have -8 times -8 times -8 times -8 times -8. Now, mathematicians are very lazy. They don't like writing all of that stuff out. Okay, so expanded form is when it's written out long, and then exponential is when we would write it using the exponent. Okay, And that negative sign is in the parentheses because that's what all the 8's are. All the 8's are negative. Okay. And we have to be careful with the how many negatives there are. In this case, how many negatives are there? Yeah, there's only one. So when we write it in exponential form, the negative does not have to be inside of the parentheses. Okay? When we're working with fractions, we do the same thing. Okay? How many are there? Well, there's 4. Are there any negative signs? No. So we would write 1/3 to the 4th power. All right, let's talk about simplifying some of these. Did the answers pop up? No. Okay. So 1 to the 23rd. How would you solve that? How would you solve 1 to the 23rd? Well, that's 1 times 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 1, 23 times. Okay? No matter how many times you multiply 1 by itself, it's always going to equal 1. Okay? Okay, 2 is 3 squared. Well, that would mean 3 times 3. Not 3 times 2, 3 times 3, and 3 times 3 is 9. All right, number 3. 4 to the 4th means 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. And what I would do for this is I would group it into 2 different groups. So we've got 4 times 4, which is 16. 4 times 4, which is 16. This is what we did on the other side. And now we're using your multiplication chart for 16 times 16. Okay? Do you have that? No. Well, look. I'm not going to tell you the answer. And if you don't know it that way, you're going to have to do it the long ways, which would be 16 times 16. Okay? You end up getting 256. We'll review how to do this in a minute, okay? All right. Number 4. We have 8 times 8 times 8. Well, group them. 8 times 8 is 64, and then we have 64 times 8, which is, that's right, not in your multiplication chart. So 64 times 8. 8 times 4 is 32. 8 times 6 is 48 plus 3. Yep, so we get 512. Okay, number 5, 2 to the 6th power. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Make sure you wrote enough 2's there. Well, 2 times 2 is 4. So I'm just grouping them right there. 4 times 4 is 16. And then 16 times 4 is 64. Now, when you see the fractions, make sure that you reduce inside first if you can. And for 6, nope, we can't. So that exponent goes to both the 8 and the 7. So the way we write that, we would just write 8 over 7 times 8 over 7. And then you can multiply straight across. 8 times 8 is 64. 7 times 7 is 49. All right, number 7. Once again, that exponent goes to both the 3 and to the 4. Okay? So we have 3 times 3 times 3. And that's over 4. And we multiply them all. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. 4 times 4 is 16, and 16 times 4, we've done it a bunch of times already, is 64. All right, and number 8, if you wanted to write it out long ways, it'd be 1 times 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, I'll tell you what the top is. Well, what's the bottom? Well, if you want to, bring them up. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 2 is 4. And then we got the 2. 4 times 4 is 16. And 16 times 2 is 32. All right, let's move on to the next slide. So now we're simplifying exponential expressions, and now we've got decimals. Okay, and we're doing the same thing, guys. Don't freak out. All right, we would write 0.5 times 0.5. Remember, the exponent tells us how many times to multiply the base. Okay, and I know it might be hard to multiply that way, so if you want to write it the other way, that's fine. That's actually what I'm going to do. I'm going to switch up how I wrote this. So I have 0.5 times 0.5. Okay? So let's multiply 5 times 5. What's 5 times 5? That's right, it's 25. Carry the 2. 5 times 0 is 0. And then I bring the 2 down. All right. So what do I put beneath the 5? Some of you have learned that you put an X. Others of you put a 0. Now, as I'm multiplying that other number, I erased all of the things that I was carrying. Okay? All right. So 0 times 5 is 0, and 0 times 0, yeah, 0. And from here, we just add everything up. The 5 comes down, the 2 comes down, and if you want to bring that 0 down, you can. Now, the only question is, what's our final answer? 0.5 times 0.5, are we going to get 25 for that? No. What about the decimals? Okay, so remember that you need to count how many numbers are behind the decimals. Okay, and we have 1, 2. So if I have 2 numbers behind the decimal, I need to make sure that there are 2 numbers behind. Okay, so our answer would be 0.25. Okay, all right, number 10. We have 7.4 times 7.4. All right, let's go ahead and multiply. 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 7 is 28. Good. And then add the 1, so we get 29. We're going to put an X or 0, however you want to write it. And I'm going to erase my markings up there. All right, so 7 times 4 we just did was 28. I'm going to carry the 2. 7 times 7 is 49 plus 2 is 51. Okay, add everything up. We get 6. 9 plus 8 is 17. 1 plus 2 plus 1 is 4. And then the 5. So, question, how many numbers are behind the decimal? Yeah, there are 2 numbers behind the decimal, so make sure that there are 2 numbers behind as well. Okay? Now, in your heads, you can kind of think that, well, this is pretty close to 7. So 7 times 7 is 49. So our answer should be a little higher than 49, but less than what 8 times 8 is. 8 times 8 is 64. And 54.76 is right in between there. So we did it. All right. Now your homework is the 1.2 practice worksheet, which is on the website. Okay. And then just remember, a reminder that you need to bring your books to class tomorrow. Okay. Well, this is Mr. Grice signing off for Algebra 2, Chapter 1.2 Notes, Part 1, all about exponents. Thanks for watching.